Let's talk about Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins. Right now, this team is sitting at 4-6. They still have a chance to make the NFL playoffs. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm not saying they're going to be a Super Bowl contender, but this Dolphins team looks completely different from last season. It really sucks that Tua Tagovailoa got hurt in week 2 against the Buffalo Bills, because this is the year for them to go out there and possibly make a Super Bowl push. And I understand you've heard that before in the past, but this is a bit different. They finally went out there. They brought in a good receiving tight end in Jonnu Smith. You bring in Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. at this stage of his career is just a very solid number 3 option. He's not going to go out there and give you much. But hey, good veteran to have on the roster. You have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, the usual suspects, and you have Devon Achane, you have Raheem Mostert added on to that as well. When I look at the Dolphins offense this season, it's been very inconsistent. And I'm not talking about with Tua. I'm talking about when Tua was out of the game. That is what really put the Miami Dolphins behind the 8 ball. Because you have Skylar Thompson. Skylar Thompson is not a good starting quarterback. I'm sorry. I know he has a good story coming out of college. He's just not good enough, even as a backup. So they forced Tyler Huntley to come into the game. They forced Mike McDaniel to go out there and make a rash decision. He had to go out there and do something. Skylar Thompson got injured, so they had to bring in Tyler Huntley. At the time, was the best free agent that was left at the quarterback spot. Problem was this. He did not get a full offseason. He did not get OTAs. He did not even know the playbook. They called him in on short notice. That man had to come in immediately and start for the Miami Dolphins. And did he look good? No, he didn't. But he was solid enough to go out there and win them a football game against the New England Patriots. When you look at Tyler Huntley, 377 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. And his best game came against the New England Patriots. Funny enough, he was 18-31, 194 passing yards, 0 passing touchdowns, 1 interception. And he also played solid against the Indianapolis Colts. And you may ask yourself, okay, how did they win that one game in particular over the Patriots, but they were not able to win the other games over the Tennessee Titans? And why was that game against the Indianapolis Colts so close? Because they lost that game 16-10. That game was close because their defense has been rock solid all season long. And before I get really in depth into the offense, I do want to give the defense a lot of flowers and give them their credit. Anthony Weaver has been phenomenal. Anthony Weaver is one of the most underappreciated defensive coordinators in this league. Comes over from the Baltimore Ravens. It was a huge question mark with the Dolphins because you're missing your 2 top pass rushers. Bradley Chubb missed majority of last season dealing with a torn ACL. He got injured against the Baltimore Ravens. They were down by 30. And you have Mike McDaniel. He still has Bradley Chubb in that matchup. He gets hurt late in the game. He should have pulled all the starters. But it is what it is now. Bradley Chubb is still out. Hasn't played a single down this season just yet. Jalen Phillips was able to come out and play a couple of games this year. Gets hurt yet again. I'm worried about him. He suffered a torn Achilles last year against the New York Jets, Black Friday game. And now he's injured this year dealing with a knee injury. So you're missing your 2 top pass rushers. And you have this young kid in Chop Robinson, but you have veterans in Calais Campbell that could come out there and give you solid production. And the same with Zach Seiler added on to that. Anthony Weaver has basically expanded on what Coach Vic did last season. And they fired Coach Vic. The players did not like him at all. But you look at what Anthony Weaver's doing. He's not blitzing as much. They're playing more so through their secondary and with the talent that they have on the back end with Kendall Fuller, solid veteran corner to still have. Jalen Ramsey, still one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, even though this season is a down year. Part of that is because the defense was on the field for so long. Now, they had a middle-of-the-road rushing defense 4 weeks ago. That's when Tua was still out dealing with his concussion injury. You fast forward to right now. We're entering week 12. They're 9th in rushing defense. One of the best rushing defenses in the NFL. And they're 10th in passing defense. They have been good all year long. And their defense has tried to keep them in games even when Tua was out. Because of the game planning with Anthony Weaver. He will switch over to man. He'll run a lot of combo coverage. And Chop Robinson, give him his credit. Early on, it wasn't pretty. Within the last 3 to 4 weeks, he's getting to the quarterback. The man went out there and he harassed Matthew Stafford the entire day in the Los Angeles Rams game. And for the many people that are saying, hey, the Dolphins defense, they went against Anthony Richardson. They went against Will Levis. They went against the Patriots quarterback. It really doesn't matter. They went against the Patriots offense. It does matter. They went against a high-powered offense of the Los Angeles Rams with a relatively healthy offensive line. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Matthew Stafford, still one of the toughest quarterbacks to have in the game. They held them to 0 offensive touchdowns. 0. They went out there and they harassed them all night long. They were flying across the field. And that has been a theme with the defense all season long. It's harass the quarterback and make them go out there and test out the secondary with Javon Holland and crew. I'll also take up for the Miami Dolphins in this situation. They went out there and they gave the Buffalo Bills a lot of problems many weeks ago. They lost that game by a field goal. If it wasn't for Jordan Poyer and that unnecessary roughness call on the wide receiver, they would have not been in field goal range and they possibly go into overtime. So granted, the Bills beat the brakes off them in week 2. Tua went down to injury. He had 3 interceptions before that happened. I understand. But that defense was able to step up and the offense was able to go out there and match that production. They were just a couple plays away from beating the Buffalo Bills, one of the best teams in the NFL right now. They're behind the 8 ball. It's going to be tough, but I do believe that they can go out there and they can match up with the San Francisco 49ers. They can match up with the Green Bay Packers. And if they can do that over the next month or so, that will give you a telltale sign of what the Dolphins team is right now. Because one thing they could not do in the past was be physical up front on the defensive side and on the offensive side, more so on the offensive side than the defensive side. The defensive side was just more inconsistent in terms of just playing rough and aggressive. But now they're doing that with Anthony Weaver. Give Jordan Brooks a lot of credit. He's a solid linebacker. I also like Anthony Walker. Anthony Walker is just a plug and play guy. Read and react. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. By the way, I mean all respect to him. He could just come into the game and just read and react. Just stop running backs out of the backfield. And he's very solid against the pass, especially across the middle of the field. Calais Campbell, I don't think this man will ever age. 4 sacks in the season, 1 forced fumble. Elite run stopper, can push the pocket. But you look at Emmanuel Ugba and you look at Chop Robinson. They're getting to the quarterback. And I hope that Bradley Chubb can return within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Because if he can, he's one of the best pass rushers on the Dolphins. He's been phenomenal since they made that trade to get him from the Denver Broncos many years ago. And they traded a first-round pick to get him. I look at Jordan Poyer. Man, Jordan Poyer this season has not been the same Jordan Poyer. And like I mentioned, man, they should have left him in Buffalo when he cost them that game. But it is what it is now. Now, to this offense, I have to give Coach McDaniel a lot of credit. He held things down as much as possible when Tua was out. A bunch of digging and dunking your way down the field. They're doing that now, but Tua is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. And you can say what you want to say about Tua, him being injury prone, can't stay healthy. Hey, I won't argue with you on that. But Tua has only thrown 1 interception since he returned, and that was against the Los Angeles Rams. He threw 3 interceptions against the Buffalo Bills. He has been safe with the football. He had 3 passing touchdowns against the Las Vegas Raiders, and I understand they're beating up on bad teams. That's what you would say, but the Rams are not a bad football team. They went out there and they took care of business against the Las Vegas Raiders, 34-19. 2 on the day, 28 of 36, 288 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, only got sacked twice. Got sacked 3 times against the Los Angeles Rams. Held on to the football for too long for one of those sacks. The offensive line has played better. A lot of it is because Teron Armstead is starting to look like his former self with the New Orleans Saints. When he's fully healthy and when he's on full go, he is still a very good left tackle to have in this league. The thing is this with this offense, I love what Coach McDaniel was doing. In the past, they would use a lot of motion to set up deep shots down the field. Now they use motion, get the football out quick. And they're using 2 running backs. They're using Raheem Mostert, and they're using Devon Achane. Similar to how the Washington Commanders use Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler, you'll see 2 running backs in the backfield. You may have Devon Achane going one way, and you have to take accountability for his speed, because if you don't, he could take a 70-yard rush straight to the house. You may have him going left, and you may have Raheem Mostert going right. It's a play-action fake. Jonnu Smith is wide open across the middle of the field. That's what they did against the Rams, and that's also what they did against the Las Vegas Raiders. Granted, it's the Raiders defense, but you didn't see those type of plays last season and the year before. They're just being one-dimensional to Tua Tagovailoa to Tyreek Hill, and the same to Jalen Waddle. They're just trying to take a lot of deep shots down the field, and there's certain plays where they won't use motion at all. They'll just go back there, put their fullback in the game, and they'll just try to run the football down your throat. And Alec Ingle has been dealing with an injury. But these are little things that you usually have not seen from the Dolphins in the past. And you have a young head coach in Mike McDaniel, and I really like him a lot. You could say that he's best as an offensive play caller. I think he's still figuring things out. If Tua was able to stay fully healthy, I believe they would be 2 games over 500 easily. I believe they would have went out there, they would have took care of business against the Seattle Seahawks and against the Tennessee Titans. Just my personal opinion. But being 4-6 in this spot is not a death sentence, because you look at the Denver Broncos, they have a tough schedule upcoming. You look at the Chargers, there's some tough games in there. We'll see what happens. But I like the offense that they're running, and they finally have a good receiving tight end in Jonnu Smith. We've seen him in the past. They have not been able to get much production out of the tight end spot. I'm not saying that Jonnu Smith is going out there and he's going to be the second coming of Rob Gronkowski. I'm not saying that at all. But 448 receiving yards, 3 receiving touchdowns, that's more than good enough. And he's averaging 11 yards a catch. And what it has done is basically put him in single coverage. He has never seen this many free looks before in his career, even dating back to the Tennessee Titans. And I hate that he signed with the New England Patriots because they had no idea how to use him. He was miscast in that role. But he comes over to the Dolphins. A lot of single looks to the safety, a lot of single looks to the linebacker. This man is a very good athlete. You're not just going to go out there and just leave Tyreek Hill on an island like how the Jacksonville Jaguars did. You're not going to do that on Jalen Waddle. You're going to have to play back. And they're forcing defenses to play up because they will run the football with Devon Achane, and they would do the same with Raheem Mostert. And Raheem Mostert this season is not having the same season they had last season, but that's okay. He's still being a good and effective running back. So now they're forcing teams to play up, and they go out there. They'll take a crossing route. You know the speed that these wide receivers have. They can take a 5 or 6 yards catch and go straight to the house with it. I've been very impressed with Tua also because of the way that he's been able to come back from that concussion injury. You have so many people that are saying, hey, maybe time to retire. He should go out there, slide more. He's been sliding more. He's been getting inside and outside the pocket at a high rate. And I will also give Coach McDaniel a lot of credit for this. He's finding ways to slide the offensive line one way and slide it to the other way to basically give Tua extra time and give those wide receivers more time to get open. And if you play soft cushion defense, dink and dunk your way down the field. You can't critique that. You really can't come on here and give Mike McDaniel a lot of flack for that because the things that he's been able to do, because these are adjustments he were not able to do in the past because he was fixated with just taking the deep shots. He was fixated with the motion. Less motion. They still use it, but now they're just taking what the defense gives them. Shout out to the coaching staff and shout out for Tua for just staring down the barrel. I will also say this. They lost to the Bills by a field goal. They also lost against the Arizona Cardinals 28-27. And Tua came in and he looked very good. Tua was 28-38, 234 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown. There's no shame in losing to the Arizona Cardinals. They're just one of those tough football teams this season. They've lost a lot of close games. They may come back and bite them on the end. But I look at the Dolphins right now. They're making a strong playoff push. And I want to see them make the NFL playoffs. It is going to be tough because you look at the top of the AFC, you have the Buffalo Bills, you have the Kansas City Chiefs, you have the Steelers, all teams that could give the Dolphins problems. But like I mentioned before, they have the wide receiving core that can go out there and basically alleviate a lot of the pressure off of Tua. And with the brand new play calls this season, and with Tua playing safer inside the pocket, I like their chances. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about the Miami Dolphins, and can they still make the NFL playoffs this season? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.